Hello, a very warm welcome to the Landmark Hotel in London. Chris Eubank Jr., Liam Smith, the fight is on live on Sky Sports box office on January the 21st. What a way to kickstart the new year. Johnny Nelson, Matt Macklin are alongside me. Now, this is a fight that could get really tasty. Matt, how much are you looking forward to it?
Oh, this is a proper fight.
Yeah.
This is going to be a grueler. This, January the 21st, our first show, and I think this could probably be
Happy
fight
New
of
Year.
the year. No, but I think it could be fight of the year. I mean, if this goes how I expect it to, and I'm pretty sure it will, so I can't see how it goes anything other than become an absolute grueler, then I think you're going to have to go a long, long way to beat this fight. So, like I say, I don't want to predict anything bad, but I think this is going to be a brutal fight. I think that both men are going to absolutely have to go to the well.
And Johnny, it's one of those fights that really could go either way on paper. They're both at similar ages, similar stages of their career. It's that fight that could really kind of, who knows what's going to happen.
And the characters clash perfectly. Chris is very slick with his little one-liners and what he's saying. Smith, he actually is a no-nonsense kind of guy. Even Eubank saying the likes of 60%, maybe 55%. We know that's tongue-in-cheek little wind-up. Smith is like, I'm not having any of that. You walk in here now, they've come down, the Smith brothers, like a pack of dogs, pack of wolves. They all back each other up. That is a family of class. That is a family that's steeped in class, that's steeped in fighting. And yes, it's the Smith name against the Eubank name, but the Smiths, they're Liverpool royalty. So this is there's a lot at stake here.
Yeah, exactly. And those two names, the Ben name, the Smith name, and that is what adds the extra spice, doesn't it? You know Liam Smith very well. You sparred him, you trained with him, you know all about that. What's he really like as a person? What's he like in the gym?
He won't give an inch. I mean, in the gym, he works hard, he trains hard, he'll spar as many rounds as you want with as many people. He's always in shape.
He's got that extra bit of spite, though, isn't he?
Out of all of them,
Yeah.
he's the one who's got that spite. We'll see today. If Eubank prods him, he'll come straight back. He won't give an inch. No fear in Liam. And like I said, I think this fight is going to be. I think it's going to be brutal because I think both of them have got good chins. Both of them can do the 12 rounds, no problem. Hard hitters, but not one-punch KO merchants. The more volume punchers. So I think it's going to be a high-tempo, high-action fight. Like I say, I really believe this could be fight of the year. And also, I think it's going to be such a grueler that it's probably a career finisher for the loser. I think it's going to be a brutal fight.
Do you agree with that, Johnny? I mean, that's a big statement.
I do agree. I have said in the past, I think a loss to Smith would be more damaging to his career and him emotionally more than loss to Eubank. Eubank can make up any excuse he wants for that, and I could see him actually finding himself still in this business after that. But I think for Smith, I think losing to Eubank, I think he's still got world title aspirations. He still thinks, I'm bigger than this level here. To lose to some kind of domestic rival would be hard to swallow. And they're a serious family, and that's how I look at it. I think for Eubank, he knows he's got to wind this guy up. He's got to get him to the stage where he doesn't think about it. He hates him. If he can do that, a guy can't stick to a game plan. He's emotionally invested, and that's what Eubank has to do with this fight.
So you think it's as much mental as it is what's going to happen in the ring in this fight?
It starts now.
Yeah.
It's actually started last week. The fight starts. It's like foreplay. You've got to start it early.
Johnny.
But what I'm saying is, these guys here.
Not even 12 o'clock.
It's fighting foreplay. You've got to get into your opponent's head. You've got to get them obsessing about you one way or another.
Psychological warfare starts now.
Yeah.
When they both came together at the end of last week, didn't they? I think it was on the Friday that they both came together. And when they actually met, they didn't say anything to each other. Nothing was said. The cameras went on them separately. That's when they both started piping up the back and forth. But I imagine today we're going to see a fair bit.
Yeah, look, I think Eubank's going to prod Liam. He's going to say something that's going to hit a nerve, and Liam's going to come firing straight back, and then it'll erupt. That's what I think will happen. But like I say, in the ring on the night of the fight, I think it's going to be such a grueler of a fight. And considering both of them have had tough fights already, there's miles on the clock here for both men. I'd probably say this is a career finisher for the loser.
Do you think there's a danger that Eubank could get under Liam's skin?
No, I think he will get under his skin. I think he'll definitely get under his skin. I mean, that's a given. But Liam will come firing back.
We know Liam has been a world champion before. We don't yet know whether this fight is going to be a world title eliminator. I'm sure we'll find out that in due course. Could that give him the extra edge? He's had that experience at a world level, whereas Chris hasn't, and that's what Chris wants, as you just said.
So you know what it's like being at the top. You know what it's like being champion of the world. You know what it's like thinking, I am the best fighter in the world. I know what I'm capable of doing, and I know there's no what you've got to think. If you, especially an ex-champion, the more levels you slip, the harder it is to come back. For him to slip and lose to another Brit, it'll be very, very hard to swallow because he's been at the highest of the height. For Chris, he's not been there. You know, he's fought ex-champions that have passed the best.
But psychologically, does that bug Chris as well, do you think?
Yes, but that's why he'll always associate his names with, I want to fight X, I want to fight Y, I want to fight... You know, he boxed Billy Joe, he boxed George Groves, he lost to those guys. But then he's boxed the likes of Arthur Abraham. I think his best fight against Shuvanov, that was a really good fight where he probably didn't get credit he deserved for that fight. Chris has shown his mettle, he's shown what he's capable of doing, but he's never been able to prove he's a world-class fighter because he's never had a title.
Well, Liam's coming up in weight, isn't he? He's coming up from 154 to 160. How will that affect things, do you think? Do you think that will play into Chris's favour?
I mean, you would have to say he's got the physical advantage in the fact that he's a career-long middleweight. He's been up at super middleweight in with George Groves, who's a huge super middle. But I think Liam is a big super welterweight. Like he has to take a lot of weight after the last 24 hours to make the super welterweight limit. So he'll back into a fully fledged middleweight come the night of the fight.
Do you agree, Johnny?
Totally agree. And we've got to be careful now because it's got really quiet so they can hear what we're saying about him. But yes, Liam, and the thing about Liam when he fights, he's patient, he's cunning. You aren't putting him under pressure. He's going to fight his style of fight, and it's a slow kind of on your toes pressure. His style of fight. Whereas Chris can try and outbox. He can try and battle you. But to me personally, when it comes down to skill, raw skill, you've got to lean towards Smith because the Smith brothers, that's what they are.
What do you think the start's going to be like at the fight? Because Liam likes to suss his opponents out, doesn't he, Matt?
Yeah, he warms into the fight. He's brilliant at doing the 12 rounds. He doesn't waste energy. He's really economical. He'll have a look, but he makes you work. You know, he's good with his feet, edging closer, doesn't wind up shots, doesn't give much away. I think he'll warm into the fight. But Eubank's super fit. I think his best asset is probably his fitness. Yeah, great fight.
So what does Liam need to do to combat that?
You know, I think pace is going to be the key here. And I've said it before, Liam was a world-class fighter. He's not the fighter he was, but the fighter he is beats most fighters out there outside world-class. I think for this, speed may be the key. I think Eubank is the faster of the two, the busier of the two. He may not be technically the better of the two, but I think that, if anything, works for him. So Liam's got to pressure him, make him work at a pace he's not comfortable with, get him up close and personal. That's going to draw him into that kind of fight. And maybe Chris wants that. I don't think Chris would be the kind of guy that's thinking, I'm going to stand there and toe-to-toe with you. Not in this fight. He might want to big up his chest and say I can do it with most fighters, but not with this guy here because he's too smart.
Let's just talk about where the fight's going to be. It's going to be in Manchester, which is technically really Liam's backyard, isn't it? It's familiar territory more for him, I guess. But someone like Eubank Jr., he's not bothered about that, is he? He's not going to be bothered about going into the Lions Den.
I think Eubank likes going into the Lions Den. I think he thrives off that. I mean, he'll find energy off the hostile crowd. You know, Liam's from Liverpool. Manx and Liverpool aren't always the best friends, but it is the Northwest, so he will have the support in there on the night for sure.
Savdan's come to join us. How much are you looking forward to this one? Well, I think it really could get quite tasty up there today. Do you think?
I think it will. I think it's a really, really good fight. Everyone online knows how close of a fight this is. I think Chris Eubank will obviously make it seem like it's not close at all, and he'll just say I only need 60 or 55% or whatever it is that he's saying.
I think he said he needed 60% or so for Conor Benn, but he reckons he needs less for Liam Smith. But that could just be,
I like it. He becomes a bit of the pantomime villain, but there's been a lot of interest. We've had tens of thousands of sign-ups already, so it's literally, you know, if you aren't on the button tomorrow, I think you will end up without a ticket. It really looks like it's going to fly.
Yeah, boxer.com for your tickets. Register for that. Get on that because it is going to be selling out fast. What do you think it's going to come down to in this one?
They both like a fight. I think eventually it will just become a war of attrition. I think Liam will try and press it. I'm interested to see what version of Chris Eubank we get.
What do you think we'll get?
I think we'll get one who tries to box a little bit more at the beginning, but gets drawn into a tear-up, and it becomes a mid-range fight, and they're just both throwing shots at each other, and it's about who lands the better, cleaner shots. Both got great engines. Both are brave. They're both strong. I can't call a winner. If I'm totally honest, I'm going to sit on the fence.
It's one of those, isn't it? And I feel like between now and New Year, we're all going to be swaying as we always do with these things.
I don't think there's any quit in either guy. That's why I think it's going to be a brutal fight. I think the fight's going to have to be knocked out. No one's going to quit this fight. It's going to go down.
And I think you're right. I think it's January 21st.
Yeah.
I think we're setting the stall for fight of the year. That is that fight.
You said you think it's a career sort of ending fight for the loser. Who is the pressure on more out of the two, do you think?
You know what? I think pride, I think Liam. I think Liam just can't afford to lose to Chris. And like it or not, Chris is like the new kid on the block. So if you've been boxing all your life from being a kid, and you're going against a Eubank, Chris Eubank Jr., you're thinking, I ain't losing to this boy here. You just won't. I think it's just hard to swallow. And the Smiths are a proud fighting family, no nonsense kind of guys. So I think it'll burn him more if he lost rather than if Chris lost.
What do you think, Sav? Do you think it's going to be who's the loss going to hurt more out of the two?
I think probably at this stage of his career, Liam as well. I think I'm not sure if there's more pressure on Liam to win. He'll have the crowd behind him, but I do feel like
there's a home crowd as well aspect for Liam. He's going to have that. I mean, that's obviously a positive.
I
but
see it the other way.
Do you? Okay.
I think it'll hurt Chris more in the sense that, Liam, he's been world champion. He's fought Canelo. He's been out, had some big wins in America.
That's what I'm saying. And then losing to Chris.
I think, he's had a great career. I think, you know what, maybe I just didn't have it anymore, or go out on a big one. I think if Eubank hasn't won a world title, so if Eubank if Liam beats him, that's his world title aspirations probably over. So I think it might hurt Eubank more.
Do you think that?
Pressure. It's a pressure. So basically, that's basically saying Liam's going in there thinking, if I don't win, I'm done. And boxing is addictive. And especially if you've got a little bit of fight left in you, it's hard to walk away from. So I think that's the last thing he wants. Heart and soul, he put everything on it. He's thinking, I cannot leave. I can't lose.
Do you think we'll have a cagey start?
For around 30 seconds or so. I honestly think Liam's going to just...
It's going to be one of those that's just sort of catches fire straight away.
They'll both have a look for a little bit, and I think as soon as somebody lands the first backhand or first significant shot, it will spur the other one into action, and I think we just get a pretty mid-rangey fight pretty quickly.
Do you think there is any respect between the two of them?
Of course there's respect. They've sparred with each other. There's respect, trust me. They won't show it today, but internally there's respect. Definitely, they both know the other guy is a quality operator.
Johnny, do you think there is there? I mean, I guess we'll see in a few minutes when
I think all fighters respect each other until they have to fight each other. Then you'll hear all the loathing words and insults they can possibly dig up until the final bell. Then it's love again. So all fighters respect each other. These two right now, they will be obsessed with each other more than they will be about anybody they know. And so it'll be very hard to get some niceness out of them.
They've picked a good day, haven't they, to fight January the 21st, which means Christmas is completely off for both fighters. That was a bit of bad planning on their part, wasn't it, Matt?
Yeah, look, they can delay their celebrations.
We always kind of dreaded fighting just after Christmas because it meant you had no Christmas celebration, you had no New Year celebration. So when you fought, I remember when I fought, I thought, don't tell me I'm fighting in January.
You always want to box in December.
Yeah,
3 weeks out, 3 weeks out, not long enough.
You
You can still have Christmas dinner 3 weeks out.
No, it's over, mate. That's
just not a big one.
It's about commitment and love.
A bit of turkey. No spuds.
Where do you think Liam will see Chris's weaknesses, though?
Probably his boxing ability, even though it's improved. I think he's not a natural boxer. He didn't have a long, extended amateur pedigree behind him. He's a natural fighter. He's an athlete. Like I say, I think his best assets are his stamina and his chin. He can be outboxed. So, Liam's very calculated, very clever. I think he'll be able to outthink him.
And flip that, where will Ben see Liam's weaknesses?
Sorry?
Flip that, where will Ben see Liam's... Sorry.
I think, when will Eubank see Liam's weaknesses? He'll just hope he has the pace. He has more pace than him. And so, therefore, he'll try and outwork him. I think speed will be the key. And he'll think to himself, naturally, I'm the bigger man. You know, so as far as he's concerned, he'll think he's stronger than Liam. So has Liam got it, what it takes to push him back?
Well, Manchester Arena's produced some absolute crackers, isn't it? And I think this is going to be more of the same, especially in January. It's going to be absolutely jumping, don't you think?
Yeah, I think it's a special arena. I don't know what it is, but when it's full, it is probably my favourite of all of them, even more so than the big 60,000, 80,000 stadiums. I prefer, it's just a...
It's a great arena as well, because it is kind of like a York Hall, isn't it? But a bigger version.
I prefer the Manchester Arena to the O2. I do.
Because,
I love the O2, but I prefer the Manchester Arena.
Why?
I don't know. Maybe because of the
I don't know what it
some
is.
Of the fights I've been to there holds a better atmosphere. I'm not sure. Maybe because you spill out into Manchester.
And it might even just be the acoustics. Honestly, it just sounds like
and the city's that tight.
Yeah.
You can't go anywhere without bumping into somebody that knows or has something to do with the fight itself. So it's not just like inside the arena, it's outside it as well. It's like the whole of Manchester is there for the boxing. So to me, it's like one of the best.
And I think it's going to be one of those that the whole of Manchester is going to be divided, isn't it? Because of the two families, there's so much dynasty, isn't there, involved in this?
Oh, completely. You know, I mean, four Smith brothers, I don't think that'll ever be done again, what they've achieved as a family. And, you know, Eubank, the history of his dad, the scene is set.
Isn't it? It's a perfect fight.
Yeah, I'm not sure if it will be split, because I think more often than not, people want to see Eubank lose.
Yeah.
But he likes that, doesn't he?
I think that's what
he plays into that. He plays the villain so well, but he also... That's what he wants. He wants to be disliked, doesn't he? He wants to go into the lion's den.
When you get into boxing, and when you get to a certain stage, you choose your role. So if you're going to be the villain, you've got to take the licks with it. You've got to take the criticism. You've got to take the hassle, the stick with it. If you don't want to be that, and you want to be a nice guy to fly under the radar, you accept that. Chris is happy winding everybody and anybody up. When you talk to him, when you interview him, he doesn't give you much. He'll engage enough to say, I don't care what you think of me. But that conjures up a feeling of either you either love him or loathe him. You're going to watch him because you want to see him get turned over. It's like a Christmas pantomime. But he's happy to live that life.
Back and forth probably will happen today. Is there a danger there could be a little bit of arrogance coming in, do you think?
I don't think it's a danger. I think it's a certainty.
Yeah.
If you are Chris Eubank Jr., you kind of, that's where you sit. You look down from your ivory tower and you almost pretend that you are above
car
this.
At the front?
No.
Have you seen that car at front?
No, I haven't.
Yeah. You're just right outside the door.
So
you've got to walk
Walk
past that Lamborghini.
I
You're like,
know.
oh, okay.
But that's all part of it, isn't it? That's
Without a
all
doubt.
part of the
He
mind
probably got
game.
it at 6 o'clock to park that there to get the best parking spot.
Yeah.
Clever.
It's all planned, isn't it? It's all part of the build-up.
That's his persona, isn't it? That's what he plays into. So yeah, he's strategic with his image. He portrays that image. That's intentional.
But completely different to what Liam's like, because he's not
Chalk and
really
cheese.
like that, is he?
No, not completely. He's like just the guy on the street, isn't he? You know, he's just a scally from Liverpool.
I don't think you can say that, but he'd laugh at that stuff, though, wouldn't he? I don't think he'd get sucked in by that.
I think eventually Eubank probably does get to you, because after a while you realise it is an act, but he actually probably believes this as well. He probably believes that he is the better fighter and he is levels above, and that he doesn't need him to be at 100% to win this fight.
He learned from the best. His dad was the don at it. Yeah. Look how his dad, even to this day now, gets some of the skin of Nigel Benn. He was the best at it, Chris Eubank Senior. So Junior, he's like thinking, that worked for my dad, it's going to work for me, and he can live by the sword but die by the sword.
What will Liam be working on in the gym? Because I guess in his last fight he didn't really get to show much, did he? It was the mismatch. He was a bit frustrated after that.
Yeah, but I think that was down to his opponent as well. He knew his opponent. He was very familiar with him.
Yeah.
So therefore he knows if he slowly put the pressure on him, he does not want to engage and dives. So it's about horses for courses. He knows what he has to do for each opponent. For this one, I believe he'll make sure his pace is high, his fitness is high, and then he'll stick to a game plan. Because if he doesn't, then Chris is going to pickpocket him.
What do you think, Matt?
I just don't think there's going to be any quit at all in either guy. That's why I think it's going to be brutal. And neither guy possesses sort of one-punch KO power. It's more an accumulative effect. It's more like beat you up, break you down. So that's why I think it's going to be such a grueler.
A grueler. And do you think it's going to go the distance? Are we going to see a knockout?
I think it'll either go the distance or it'll be late stoppage.
I've just been told we need to stop talking because it is about to begin. Right, let's get over to Big Mo to get the proceedings underway.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Big Mo, and I'm honored to welcome you to the beautiful Landmark Hotel. Thank you to the members of the media joining us here in person and the viewers joining us on Sky Sports. We are off on what should be an incredible campaign as we head towards what should be a classic British clash. Introducing first to the stage. This man comes to us from Liverpool. He is the former British, Commonwealth, and WBO World Champion. Ladies and gentlemen, the one, the only, Liam Beefy Smith. And his opponent facing off on stage from Brighton, England. He comes WBA World Champion. Here is Chris Eubank Jr. And now facing off today, ahead of their clash on January 21st, 2023. These two men come from fighting families. They come with 32 wins apiece. Former champions, Liam Smith, Chris Eubank Jr., facing off for the first time here today. January 21st, Manchester, England, the AO Arena. Liam Smith, Chris Eubank Jr. Joining these two on stage. First, the host of our press conference from Sky Sports, Andy Scott. And joining Team Eubank is the head of global boxing for Wasserman Boxing, Mr. Callis Sauerland, and the founder and CEO of Boxer, Ben Shalom. Andy, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Big Mo. Good afternoon and a warm welcome to the Landmark Hotel here in London. On January 21st, live on Sky Sports box office, two of British boxing's most famous fighting families will meet at the AO Arena, Manchester, in a fight that promises to be both brilliant and brutal, fascinating and compelling. A combined record of 64 wins, 42 of those have ended inside the distance. The ingredients are there for a classic domestic showdown. In one corner, the son of a British boxing legend forging his own path, Chris Eubank Jr., the ultimate showman, ready to dazzle under the bright lights once again, and for today, and maybe for the rest of this build-up, the Colonel. In the other, a modern-day throwback, one of four fighting brothers and a man who made it to the very top as a world champion, the fighting pride of Liverpool, Liam Beefy Smith. Gentlemen, associated teams, members of the press, thank you. Let's get straight to our main event fighters. Chris, I'll come to you first. It's probably a fight you didn't see coming at the start of October, but it's here now. With the postponement and the subsequent fallout from the Conor Benn situation, did you welcome this clash with Liam?
The bad guy is back. The bad guy is back. He never cheats, he never lies, he never cuts any corners, but he's still the bad guy. Isn't that incredible? Yeah, this is an awesome fight. I think this is going to be the funnest fight I've had for quite some time. The styles are going to gel excellently. The fans are going to be, they're going to be in for a treat. It can't be a boring fight, just from the way that we both fight. And the fight makes sense, two guys, at the top in the UK scene right now and on the world scene, so we're going to get in there, we're going to have fun.
Other fast food brands are available, but do you want to explain the jacket?
Oh, I forgot I was wearing this. This is, KFC are sponsoring me for this fight. They saw how well I made the weight in my fight, in my camp for Conor Benn, and they said to themselves, you know what, we want this guy on our team. So they're supplying unlimited KFC for me for the next 8 weeks, and it will be a part of my diet. In the camp against Smith. It worked well against Conor, so if it's not broke, don't fix it, right?
How does this fight, in your mind, compare with the Conor Benn fight? Is this a more difficult fight in your eyes?
No, I don't think this is going to be a harder fight than Conor. Conor was, he was an unknown. He was unpredictable. Young, and he was undefeated. It was going to be fiery. I think Liam is. I know what Liam is. There's nothing he's going to be able to do that is going to, confuse me or that I'm not going to see coming. I think that it's going to be a much more controllable fight and one that I'm going to be able to win with a fair amount of ease.
Liam, I'll give you immediate response to some of those claims. Chris clearly saying it's an easier fight for him compared to Conor Benn, and he plans on eating fast food through the build-up to this one. So the floor is yours. What's your response to that?
That's just him being him. I told you that before. I said that in interviews. If he wants to feel that way, come in 55%, I'll wipe the floor with him. And he knows that. He's just playing the
50%,
game that he always plays.
55.
You come in that way. What are you paying Roy Jones for then? You never paid him for Conor.
Roy Jones is a legend. I have to have him in the camp.
You never had him for Conor.
Yeah, because it was Eubank.
Because you could train yourself for Conor. Why are you paying money if I'm an easier fight? I wouldn't be paying money.
Money isn't an issue. It's the fact that I want Roy in my corner for this particular fight.
Why?
Why not?
Why didn't you have him for Conor?
I just told you it was because it was Eubank Ben. It was the Eubank name was British. Roy's an American. It wouldn't have made sense for the story.
But your dad weren't going to be there either.
Well, Ronnie Davis was there. That's the man I needed.
Ronnie's always there, to be fair to him. Ronnie's a good man.
Yes, he is.
The rest of these are fucking
One of the best. One of the best.
Yeah, Ronnie's a good fella. The rest of these are tits. But you come in at 50%, please do.
Are you prepared to put a percentage of what you need to be?
Well, I've said it. I think 50% of what I can be would be enough to beat Liam. Like I said, he's predictable. There's nothing that he's going to do on the night that I can't foresee. He's an old dog in the game. I guess I am too. But yeah, I know the fighter that Liam is. I've sparred with him. I know what he's capable of, and that's why I say it's an easier fight than what Conor was, because we still don't really know what Conor was capable of, and he has that fire and he has that undefeated spirit in him.
You said you can't remember the spars, Chris. So how do you know it's easier than Conor?
I know we sparred. I don't exactly remember what happened in the spar. I know I sparred your brother before I sparred you. But I don't particularly remember how it went. I think...
Are you trying to make out you sparred me brother, then got straight in with me, or you sparred me brother 2 days before you sparred me?
I'm pretty sure I sparred him and then you.
No, you never. You never. Stop lying. And Ronnie will tell you, you sparred me, brother, and 2 days later you sparred me. So don't tell lies. If you want to be honest, just be honest.
I'm not lying. I actually don't remember. I don't remember the spars, which is why, you know, it would have been uneventful. It would have just been, you know, another day in the office. Just another piece of meat that was in there for me to.
Why have you put a rematch clause in, or was it you're going to blame your team? Why is the rematch clause in this and there's not a rematch clause in the Conor Benn fight? Just answer.
This is business. You know, anything can happen.
Why was there not a rematch clause in the Conor Benn fight?
Ask my promoter.
Call it.
To be fair, Liam, on this one, I called the card here, but I put the clause in.
Listen, anything can happen.
So, Carla, do you think this is a tough fight?
As you know, I've had a few fights for your family, and as you know, I love a rematch clause. Paul?
For those that love boxing bingo, sparring is sparring, the oldest cliche in the book, but what's your recollection of the spars that you had?
I'm confident in the way the spars went, which is why I took this fight. I know Chris stylistically is fit, good athlete, again, not very fundamental, makes loads of mistakes. And again, if Chris were in the middleweight, it wouldn't really be a question who wins this fight.
You were very vocal when you signed with Boxer and Ben Shalom. That's the fight that I want. Chris took a different route, and you were very vocal at the time, saying he would rather fight a welterweight than fight me. Did you believe, or do you believe now, that perhaps Chris is taking a fight that he didn't originally want to take?
I think I think to be fair, again, I'm giving him too much credit. He's a fighter. He fights whoever put in front of him. But what I've just touched on, I know his whole team know this is a lot tougher fight for him, which is why the rematch clause got put in place. It was the same team who made the Conor Benn fight. Callum made the Conor fight too, but didn't put a rematch clause in that. So I just think the whole team know. I know Ronnie knows, but Chris is just playing the game that he wants to always play.
I think Callum knew this was a tougher fight.
I'm happy that the Conor Benn agreement's so public. I can't comment on a confidential agreement. What I would say is I would never let the A side go into a fight without a rematch clause in any fight, and that's got nothing to do with Chris. In fact, that is something that Chris didn't put in our agreement. That's something that I have, and that's what we have. We have a rematch clause in there because I have to protect our boxers. That's what we do, you know. And in boxing, we know you can trip over a shoelace in the first round. It's all happened before. We've all seen it before. Those who've been around the fight game long enough, you know.
Does anyone actually care? I don't know why we keep talking about this. Like, all right, there's a rematch clause.
It's an easier fight. That's why we're just justifying it to you.
No, I mean, whether there's a rematch clause or not, it doesn't change the fact that you're not going to pose more of a threat than Conor Benn does, in my opinion.
But you turn off 50% then, and we'll soon see.
Yeah, we will see. We've got 8 weeks. It's going to be fun.
Chris, do you mind if I ask you, in terms of career CVs, how you feel that yours stacks up against Liam's?
I don't know. That's not really for me to say. That's for the fans to debate on. I'm not worried about who he's fought. I'm not thinking about the guys I've fought. You know, I have a man in front of me, and I'm going to roast him like I always do.
Is he still a world-class fighter, in your opinion? He has been a former world champion.
Yeah, if you held a belt, you're always a world-class fighter, and he's held a belt, and you know he's had a few good wins in his last few fights. He's on a good run, as am I. So the fight makes sense. It's a fight the fans are asking for, and it's domestic, which is very important. So it's going to be a big occasion.
We're jumping around a bit, but will Roy Jones be joining your camp, and if so, when?
Yes, Roy will be in my camp for this fight. He will be travelling to the UK within the next few weeks.
Liam, in your mind, where and when did this rivalry begin? It's perhaps not a natural rivalry of a war of words that goes back years and years, but it has built slowly over the following months and the situation since October.
Yeah, it was just more when the names were linked, and obviously it was opponents for Chris, and my name was getting linked with him more and more and more. And then I thought, it's a fight that makes sense. And then, obviously, after we'd sparred, I just knew it's a fight that could happen. And then, obviously, with the boxer link-up and Sky, I knew it was quite easy to make. And obviously, it's a fight I'm confident in, which is why I've took this fight. Let's bring in the promotional teams. Before I do so, those of you that are wondering about ticket information, pre-sale goes live 10 a.m. tomorrow. To access those, you need to go to boxer.com. General sale will be Thursday at 10 o'clock, I'm sure, because Ben Shalom tells me that pre-sale has been very good interest-wise. Boxer CEO and promoter Ben Shalom, must be an event that you're incredibly proud to get over the line.
Yeah, it's one we've been pushing for a long time. I'm not sure Calla was as keen. It's one that, for me, it's the best fighting the best. I think Eubank Jr., he's stepped up twice to world level, and this is probably the third time that he's stepping up to true world level fighter here. And it's going to be a tough fight for Eubank. It's going to be a tough fight for Liam Smith, but it truly is a 50-50, and it splits opinion. It is the fight we've been pushing for a long time, and I think it's a fight that British boxing wanted. It's a fight that British boxing needed, and I think it's a perfect fight for both fighters.
The description that I've heard more and more when people talk about this fight is it has all the ingredients to be a truly brutal type of fight. Do you share that opinion?
Yeah, for me, Liam Smith is a better fighter now than the one that fought Canelo, the one that fought Munguia. We've seen him. He's been the more active fighter. He's getting better. Styles-wise, they both come forward. Liam Smith's probably one of the best fighters on the inside that we have in this country. It'll be interesting to see how Junior can deal with that. But it's fireworks, isn't it? Both of these fighters believe 100% they're going to win. Liam Smith could have had the fight in December. He wanted it in January. This isn't a payday for him. This is the fight that he's coming to win, and win well. And, yeah, I think this is a test for Eubank Jr. again to show whether he is world level. And both of them won. Liam wants a second world title, and Chris will want his first one after this.
It's a hometown for you, but you know the arena very well, the AO Arena, and this was the natural home for this fight in your eyes?
Yeah, I think so. Obviously, in Liverpool, it would have sold out in a couple of minutes, but the Manchester Arena, a much bigger arena, an arena that's had huge events this year with Khan and Brook, and this is the rightful home for a fight like this. I think, yeah, amazing way to start the year. It will be an amazing undercard, an amazing event, and Smith Eubank, two of the biggest names in British boxing right now.
Global Head of Boxing at Wasserman, Calla Sauerland. Calla, this is a formal introduction. I know you've already had a say, but this has got all the ingredients. It's building nicely already. Is it fair to say two very differing personalities? Is that a fair statement?
Yeah, I mean, I love being involved in fights like this, especially when I get a semi-pop from my co-promoter on it as well. We wanted this fight. What are you talking about?
I think you prefer...
I mean, you know, no, but let's get this right. let's just get this right. Yeah? We had three options on the table. It was a 1.5 second phone call with him. Is that option? That was the deal. What then, you know, made the business deal took a little longer, but we got there amicably. And here we are, and we have an absolute blockbuster to start the year. So let's all get on. Let's all be happy. You know, you're going to see 50% of Junior. You're going to see 100% of Liam. And you're going to have the Colonel as well. So, I mean, it sounds fantastic. That's box office, isn't it? You know, I mean, that's what we want to see. We want to see big fights. It's big fights that stand out at this time, at this, you know, hard time around the country. So you have to be careful what fights are really the big fights. Eubank Smith wasn't made by Ben, by Sky, by me. It was made by the fans. The fans have talked about this fight. Whenever, you know, that, and I'm only going to spend 1 second, and please, no questions on this today as well. We've had enough talk about Ben. We're talking about the future. In my miserable week of desperation and you know, Eubank suffering the most, the undercard of that horrible week, this was the fight that arose from the ashes immediately. This was the fight to go and make. This was the fight that would get him out the blocks as quickly as possible. One British blockbuster for another. And here we are, and we're delighted. And I, as a promoter, delighted to be putting on with Ben, with Sky. But Junior, believe me, there wasn't no looking. He wasn't, you know, it wasn't I called him out. I think the actual quote was, "Just another man." Calla, just another man. Because I knew there was a spar. I said, well, how did the sparring go down? You know, give me some comfort, some confidence. Just another man. So, you know, that's my being said. But I think it's a fantastic fight. I think it's got all the spices to get our juices flowing before the fight. But at the end, you buy a ticket, you buy a pay-per-view to witness a bit of history. You're talking about Manchester Arena, the scene of so many memorable fight nights. Been lucky to be involved in a few of them. I think this will be an absolute banger that night. And, you know, 50%, if he says it, he'll do it.
I'll invite both of you to address each other. Liam first. The Eubank chin is well known in all of British boxing. Do you believe that you can test that chin? And what would you say to Chris?
Of course, and if he's, you know, he doesn't believe that, he's a fool, but, you know, he's got a good chin, he holds a good shot, and, you know, we'll see. But look, trust me, his chin will get tested and his body will be tested too, and if he comes through that, good luck to him. But he knows, he's not stupid, he knows it's going to get tested either way.
Do you believe that you can knock Chris Eubank Jr. out?
Yeah, of course, I believe I can knock anyone out, especially with 10-ounce gloves on. And, you know, we'll see how Chris is saying. We have a laughed as well. If he's sponsored by KFC, wow, don't. But if he wants to keep doing that, he doesn't make the weight as great as he makes out, put it that way, and, you know, it'll be tested if he does.
What would your message be to Liam, Chris? Do you believe that you can end this fight inside the distance?
I look to end every fight inside the distance. It's not going to change for this fight. You know, everybody always says that they can knock me out and they're going to do this and they're going to do that, and it never happens. But you know, I understand he's got to put on a brave face for you guys. But yeah, it's not going to be, as Ben says, a 50-50 fight. I mean, and a lot of people say this, and it's incredible to me when this line keeps coming up. You know, 50-50 fight, pick 'em fight. You know, I haven't worked as hard as I've worked all these years to be on the same level as guys like Liam Smith. You know, I think I deserve a little bit more respect than that. You know, I've paid my dues. I am what I am, and
you paid your dues. You got a proper leg up because of your name.
Well, you know,
got a leg up because you know your dad was you know, a superstar back in the day. You got a leg up, to be fair to you.
Don't talk like them, because you're not.
Like who?
Like them, like the haters, like the armchair critics. You know, you're not them. You know better than that. You know, this is not about names. It's not about leg ups and, oh, you wouldn't be where you are because of your old man.
Well, Chris, you've just said you look to finish every opponent. So
that's played out.
We go back to Marcus Morrison. You said you wanted to carry him because it was Roy. Then you've just how many times you put Liam Williams down? 4, was it?
Yeah, listen.
And he's seeing points and made it half a close fight, like.
Well, listen, I had an injury and I got through it. You know, with Marcus, it was my first fight back after COVID, and I wanted to get the rounds in. With you, as soon as there's an opening,
you fucking better finish me. Put it that way.
Yeah, you're gonna be on the canvas, and you know how to give up as well, which is another reason why I say you're going to be easier than Conor. You know, Conor, if he got put down, he would, rightly or wrongly, he would get straight back up. You know how to take a knee and look at your corner and, oh, shall I get up at 9? And, all right, it's 9. Let me get back up now and try again.
That's a lie, Chris, but you can keep
know
saying
how
that.
to. You know how
Where
to
was
play
I on
that
the knee?
game.
I was on my back, and the count only got to 5. So stop talking shite again.
I'm just saying, you know how to lay down like the old dog that you are, and that's what you're going to do on the night. You're going to lay down.
Lose every time you stepped up to someone with good fundamentals. You've lost.
Come on, listen. Don't speak like them, because you're not. You know better.
You've lost them.
And for someone who has losses on their record, you know, it's obscene for you to talk like that. So just stop, please. It's embarrassing.
It's real. You think you're a fucking superstar, and you're far from it.
I never said I was a superstar. I'm just a guy.
You talk like you are. You're far from it.
I'm just a guy in a KFC jacket trying to make a living.
Shit.
Okay? Calm down over there.
One thing that Chris said to you, Liam, was that all he does is the fundamentals. Do you believe the fundamentals, or your fundamentals, are good enough to beat a 50% Eubank Junior?
Do you want me to answer the question to beat a 50% Chris Eubank Jr.?
Yeah, go on.
No, I'm not going to answer a 50% Chris, because you know full well, and everyone in this room knows he's not saying no 50%. And it baffles me the people who laugh when he says he's going to do it. He turns up at 50%, like I said, I'll wipe the floor with him.
Can you guard against him getting under your skin? Is he getting under your skin?
No, again, that's just Chris being Chris. I said this to you since the first interview we'd done on him. We knew he'd play this game, and we knew as soon as he seen me say he can't be 60%, he's gone better again and said 50, and that's just him being him. He's just so predictable, it's laughable.
I'm intrigued by something that you said there, Chris, was that you still feel that you aren't respected, that you still strive for that respect. Do you feel that you are disrespected within British boxing, within the wider circles?
I don't know. It's, you know, I've dealt with this for so long now that it's not even something I think about or care about even. People are always going to say what they want to say. They're always going to think what they want to think. Whether I get my credit or not, at this stage now it's irrelevant. Now all I have to do is give the fans what they want, whether they like me or whether they don't like me. You know, I want to be in big fights. I want to be in fights that the fans want to see and get behind, and you know, and win. And that's what we will do in 8 weeks' time.
Well, let's start wrapping it up with predictions. Then, Callum Sowland, I'll come to you first.
I was just sitting there thinking, looking at Callum and Paul, and thinking we've done, I don't know, probably 5 fights together in total. It's very different with Liam. I've known Liam obviously many years as well, but I do think that he's a bit under your skin already. I don't think he would be under Callum's, and I don't think he would be under Paul's. But
then just got under yours. You were sitting there like
it's the chalk and cheese here that's going to make the. But that's the build-up anyway. That's the build-up. I think fighting-wise, I think we got the experience. I think we got the youth. I think we got the speed. I think we got the skill set and the size. Sorry, Liam.
Same to you, Ben.
Look, I know for a fact that Calla and Chris would have preferred Conor Benn, would have preferred Felix Cash.
I'm not fighting him.
Would have preferred.
I'm very happy not to be fighting.
There's a reason. There's a reason. There's a rematch clause in this one, and there wasn't in any other one. Anyone in boxing knows that.
Ask the Smith family. Ask the Smith family. Paul, how many rematches did you have against Arthur Abraham in your contract? Was it 4 or 5? I can't remember what I put in there. Was it 17? There you go, 17. That is one of my, you know, like Chris has trademark left hooks. I have trademark rematch clauses. You've got a light one, actually. You've got a very confident one. It's only one. It's not 17 like Paul. You know, I was much more worried about Paul against Abraham. It was good that I took that one as well. So, no. The rematch clause, do not read into that rematch clause. That is a business thing, and I will continue to do it.
For me, this is the hardest fight Junior's had since George Groves. I think he's stepping up again. I think he's stepping up against the best Liam Smith will have seen. And he's going to have to do something he's not done before, which is beat a world-level fighter. And whether he can do that or not, we'll see. But that's what's on the line on January 21.
Liam, Chris, same question to both of you. The lights come down at the AO Arena. The ring empties out. 20,000 fans at a sold-out arena. How does this fight go in your mind?
I just think a Liam Smith win. The fight, I'll be 100% ready January, and that's why, you know, that's why I push for it to be January. And I know I'd turn up 100% fit. I'd be Chris Eubank Jr.
Chris?
Yeah.
Final message to each other?
No, there's no final message. I'm going to be seeing the guy, you know, for the next 8 weeks. So, yeah, the final message will be on the night when I'm standing over him with my hand raised.
Good luck.
Thank you.
Well, thanks to everybody at the top table. Thank you all for coming today. I think we've got one more head-to-head posing with the teams. So the floor is yours, gentlemen.
Well, guys, I think that was as we expected, but maybe even a little bit more spicy. I just need to apologise for any of the language if that caused any offence. Obviously, tensions are running rather high up there, Johnny.
Yeah, they are, as predicted. I think whenever Chris will breathe, Junior will breathe, and Smith will be upset about it. This is how this is going to go for the next 8 weeks, no matter what he does or says. And Smith's making sure he's firing back. He's not letting anything slip. But he's just got to make sure, that might be what he's like when he's at home with the boys. But he's got to be on it. He's got to be on top of him and make sure he answers him. Because he questioned him there where he gave Eubank a few questions where he couldn't answer. Why is Roy involved? Why is there a rematch? And just put it on his toes.
I mean, it's a fair point, isn't it? I mean, he's saying that his dad was going to train him for the Conor Benn fight, so why are you paying a trainer to fight you for this? What message is that sending out? I mean, it's all part of the mind games, I'm sure. But,
No, but that's a question I think a lot of people are thinking. You come over with Roy Jones, you spent the last few camps with him, getting into that style, it's working, you're working on things, but you don't bring him over for Conor Benn. You're obviously getting paid a lot of money for the Conor Benn fight, and he probably doesn't want to, give him his cut because it's probably a lot of money, and he thinks I don't need to.
And let's be real.
This one,
and let's be real, he ain't coming in at 50%. He's going to train. He's going to train his hardest for this fight. So this is a wind for everybody.
We enjoyed that. How was that for you?
Yeah, it was expected. I expected Chris to do some of the stuff and say some of the stuff he said, and it was no shock to me.
Like Johnny just said there, I mean, he's clearly trying to get under your skin, saying things like he's only going to bring 50%. Do you believe that's the case? Or
no, definitely not. I think nobody in this room believes that, to be brutally honest with you. But also, as much as I don't believe he was going to be 60 for Conor either, that's just Chris being Chris. He's going to try and play all these antics. Do you really think KFC has sponsored him also? That's just Chris being Chris. I expected all this with him.
And plenty other chicken
shops. You know what
I
mean? I knew all this was going to come in the build-up with him. Again, I tried to be as real as possible, as in, you come in at 50%, if you come in at 50%, I will really wipe the floor with you. So, and I'm not saying that being like Chris and trying to say it so people jump on it. If he does come in at 50%, he's made for me.
Look, I think one of the things you can't fault Chris Eubank for is how hard he trains, the shape he's in, he's athletic, his fitness, his stamina.
And he maintains that pretty much all the time.
I think he lives the life. That's a massive tick for him.
And the other thing is how he sells a fight. That's part of the sales plan. It's not just being able to get in there and fight, son the fight. So he knows he's going to poke, love or loathe.
He didn't hold back, did he? I mean, how was it feeling to you when he sort of implied that you were going to take the knee? And
again, I knew, and again, you only have to. He's just doing it to people in the room who he gets the little sniggles off. Where have I took a knee? I took a knee and got up, and then the one that finished me, I was on my back in agony, and I think you were there. I was on my back, and the ref only got to 5, and so it's not like I've been on a knee and watched the ref count to 10 and not got up, because that is basically quit. So I was on my back in agony, and again, I've got no shame now. I lost to the best fighter in the world, who Chris is trying to chase. Chris is begging for fights with him. Chris is no Canelo Alvarez, put it that way.
There's no quitting Liam, and also there's no quitting Eubank.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? There's no quitting either of these guys. That's why I'm saying it's going to be a grueler. This is going to go down to the wire.
Callum mentioned one of the strengths for Eubank was size. Obviously, you're having to come up in weight to 160 in this. Are you seeing that as any kind of problem? About
no problem at all. I know. You know, size and frame. He looks a big lump, but like I said, and again, sitting here now to use, Chris won't be much different than he was, you know, in the face-off in the ring the other day. He's always in shape. He's probably walking around now about 12 stone 2 and only has to make 11.6, but he'll probably only get in the ring 12 stone also. I'll be everything Chris Eubank in that ring, no doubt about it. And I think, you know, sparring, he's heavy when I sparred him, and you know, I know I've took the fight for a reason. Size won't be a big issue in the fight.
How do you think you beat him?
I just think as long as I'm fit, which is why I didn't jump at the December date. I'm not taking it to please Chris and to please the promoters. I'm taking it when I'm 100% ready, and I'll be 100% ready in January, and I beat Chris if I turn up 100%. I feel I do most things better than him besides size.
So where do you see his weaknesses then?
Fundamentally wise, boxing IQ, jabbing, fighting. You know, I don't think he reacts to things well. He's athletic, he's solid, good chin, but you know, with boxing IQ, and I've openly said I'll bite your hands off for the Chris Eubank who fought Liam Williams under Roy Jones, and that's why I'm happy Roy Jones is in his corner.
We were talking beforehand how you've had experience, you've been a world champion. Do you think that will give you some sort of edge?
Yeah, of course. You know, the fights again, Canelo, Munguia are both better fighters than Chris. But I just think, you know, him under Roy Jones is not the same Chris Eubank. And when you look
in what way?
I just think Roy's got him jabbing. Chris, you're in for a fight if Chris comes to have a fight with you. Shows his fitness, shows his, you know, he's got quick hands when he lets them go. But you know, he tries to really fight on the back foot. He was able to do that with Liam Williams because he dropped Liam with a jab. I think this is more questions should be asked on how, what was wrong with Liam Williams and whether Liam crashed the weight or not. I don't know, but he dropped Liam 4 times. If I drop someone 4 times, they're not in the final bell. Put it that way. And that's the way I look at it.
What do you think? Is this going the distance? Without a doubt, I think we're all in agreement. It's going to catch fire at some point. Is that going to be sooner rather than later, or are we going to see any knockouts in this one?
No, I think it's got to catch fire sooner because, again, I think Chris with Roy in his corner is going to try and box me, but trying to use his feet a bit, and I don't feel that'll work for him because I feel I'm too good for him in that department. So I feel he then has to revert to what he likes. I do think he likes a fight. I think he's game. I think he doesn't mind having a fight with you. So I just think soon as the boxing, moving, jabbing's not working for him, he will come to have a fight with me. I
totally agree. I think they're going to focus on the athleticism of Chris. So therefore, and not the boxing ability. Athleticism far outweighs the boxing ability. So smarts, thinking like Roy would think, I want you to box him, use your pace, use your engine, use your youth, use your ring youth, because that's your best option. To stand there to toe to toe, to stand there to outbox is the last thing I'd tell him to do. I say, you know, use your speed, use the power, get out of the way. That's the smartest thing to do.
I think the biggest mistake you see trainers make is try and train the fighter to box how they box. Yeah. You got to work with what you got. Chris Eubank never got those.
I guess that's an easy trap to fall into.
He never learned those fundamental technical boxing abilities because he was late to the game, so he never got that. But what he has got is chin, fitness, an ability to get his head on your chest, those uppercuts. Yeah. He's a fighter. Yeah. He's not a good boxer. And if he tries to box Liam, he'll give away half the fight. Ultimately, he'll definitely have to fight him because Liam will make him fight. But if he gives away the first 6 rounds trying to box him, to me, that's suicide.
I'm going to drop you in it now, Johnny, what you said earlier, that you're viewing this fight as for the loser, it's career ending. Are you seeing it that way, or?
Yeah, I do, because like I say, I lose to Chris Eubank. All being said, I've got no aspirations of being world champion again. And again, that's what I'm carrying on boxing because I want to be world champion again and in big fights. And again, it's all led to this, that I know if I turn up 100%, I'm massively confident of beating Chris, and that's why I haven't jumped at it and rushed for the 6 weeks notice for December the 17th. I've took this on my terms, and in my terms, January, I'll be 100% ready, and I'm confident of beating Chris.
Who are you seeing the pressure on more in this one? Because it is so evenly sort of swinging one way or the other.
The stage in the career, the pressure's on both. Look, if you look at it, the pressure's on Chris. He's the middleweight. He's the name. He's the A-side, like they keep trying to call it. But I'll accept that on all accounts. But there's pressure on me because the stage we're at in our career, you know, people are forgetting Chris is 33. I've just turned 34. There's not much in that sense. But you know, we'll see January. I just think there's big pressure on both of us. Whoever loses that fight, the world title fights are done.
Well, you've got a busy few weeks ahead of you. Christmas as well, as I said. You picked a good time to fight. You don't get your Christmas dinner, or do you get your Christmas dinner?
No, we'll probably still be able to squeeze a Christmas dinner in.
And broccoli.
Yeah, you can make one. You can make a little makeshift one when you're on a diet. But you know, I don't mind staying over Christmas. You know, not many more Christmases left. I'll be training over, so I'm happy with this one.
Well, best of luck. If that's anything to go by, we're very much looking forward to the coming weeks and the build-up, because I think it's going to get even more spicy. We're going to say goodbye to you, and then we're going to bring in Ben Shalom and Calla. They're going to pop up now.
This is going to be a full house.
I don't know who should stand in between these two.
Oh my goodness!
Who wants to stand in between these two?
Go on then.
All right, Matt, you can go in between.
Greetings, son.
How are you?
How
are you?
Oh, I'm very well, thank you. How are you, Calla? Spicy between Chris and also Liam there, but between you two as well. Ben, you're trying to say that Calla didn't want the fight?
Feature. We were thinking about the co-feature. I'm sizing him up.
Oh no!
I think we're,
Can we just remind people they're actually paying money to watch this fight? No one wants to see that.
Yeah.
Look, in all seriousness, is this on?
It is on.
I think, look, me and Calla get on, but I know, and Calla knows, if Chris could line up his choice of opponents, Liam Smith would not be on that list. And so Liam Smith is a very, very tough fight. Conor Benn wouldn't work. Felix Cash, no one wanted to see. And this is a massive step up for Junior. That's how I feel. I think Calla knows that deep down, which is why we spent so long on the rematch clause. And it's a great fight, and I'm glad that Calla made it with me, because I think we've got a massive, massive fight for British boxing.
Right, respectfully listen, I didn't butt in.
Yeah.
So no, absolute garbage, man. No. Put step up, right? Step up. No, I don't see this as a step up. It's a blockbuster fight. That's why we've done it. It's big box office business. Yeah? This is a business. It's the pro game. It's a big fight. Is it a step up from his resume? I don't think it is. I don't see how he's better than George Groves, James DeGale, Billy Joe, those sort of names. But Ben does, so that's cool.
Well, Ben, you got a chance to come back.
Let me finish now. I gave you your moment. But I take it with respect what you're saying. Now, what I would say to you is I don't really matter here. We had three options on the table. The call to Junior, I remember we were promoting a show. We were promoting a show in Frankfurt. Ben's called me out on the Friday. What about to do this here? I said, let me put it to him. So I had three options. It was a 1.5 second decision, and I really mean that. And he's on Smith. And Junior, when you talk to him, he's very sort of black and white, and he's very unemotional. So I've gone, well, you sparred with, might give this away, with two of the people on that list. So he goes, just another man. And that was his answer. So how do you answer that as a promoter? You're like thinking, well, you know, you got to... And yes, there is a rematch clause. Yes, I do always put them in contracts when you have the A side.
You know what?
You didn't put it. But you didn't put it in for Conor.
Yeah.
Slightly different.
Why? Can you explain why?
Slightly different. First of all,
it's an easier fight.
Now, so that's in a confidential agreement. But let's assume that it wasn't one in Conor. Eubank Ben was a very difficult fight to make for many reasons. Yeah, and I don't want to waste too much. That's the past. And, you know, now we're on Eubank Smith, but that whole deal was so complicated, and so many different people talking into it, that had we done that, we'd probably done it in 4 years' time once we agreed the rematch splits and whatever else is to agree on. So this is much easier in a way, but it was still a long process because it's a big fight. What people realise, the difference now to when I started out 20-something years ago making big fights was you got your time. People didn't press you. You know, now I've got like reporters announcing fights, and I'm like, no, we haven't started yet. And that was similar to the Eubank Ben fight, but was very similar to Eubank Smith. Yeah, I mean, you also shot a bit early.
Listen,
but that's another. But but we need to do it at the same time to get the interest, gauge the interest, I think, as well. And we were like, whoa, the interest here is big.
And that's the thing, that there is a vast amount of interest in this, because not just for watching what happens in the ring, but there's so much at stake, isn't there? The family pride, the two family names going head to head.
The stage of the careers.
Of course, exactly, and they're both at similar stages in the career. And as Johnny and Matt have said, that the loser potentially be a career-ending fight.
Yeah, I think if we just break it down and have a true boxing conversation, you talk about James DeGale. James DeGale was finished. You talk about Billy Joe Saunders and George Groves. He lost those fights. This would be the biggest win on Chris Eubank Jr.'s record, without a shadow of a doubt. And that's why I see it as almost a step back to world level for Eubank Jr. And I think it's the right fight for Eubank. He's 33 years old now. He wants to prove he's world level. He wants to win world titles. And Liam Smith, fair play to him, was the toughest domestic opponent they could have got.
No, the reality is this will be the best win for whoever wins this fight. Facts.
So what you're watching now is you're seeing both sides of fighting. You're seeing the fighters want to fight, and you're seeing the business side of it. So they're talking about the rematch clause. I know his dad. I fought for his dad. There was always a rematch clause in. That's the business side of it. This is the business conversation. The fight side of it is two different stories, and so this is why fights happen or don't happen. Fight promoters can work together and get the deal done. As long as the fighters, which most fighters want to do it, they don't care. But this is the other side of boxing. And
we're very pleased that you two are working together and this is happening. We're going to say goodbye to you because we want to get Chris in, because we don't want to keep him waiting too long. The Colonel is coming. The Colonel is coming. Thanks, guys. Good to see you, Ben. In comes Chris. Can't miss you in that jacket. Like it a lot. How are you feeling, Chris? I mean, we enjoyed it. Did you enjoy it up there?
I always enjoy these events. They're, they're part and parcel of the sport, and I like being able to interact with my opponent before a fight, get his vibe, see what he's about, see what type of personality he is. And Liam is he's up for it, man. He's up for it.
And what's the vibe saying then? What vibe did you pick up from Liam Smith up there?
I think he's an emotional guy. I think he's easy to kind of rattle. He's not a calm guy. I'm very calm. You can't say anything to me which upsets me or pisses me off.
Apologies for swearing.
Sorry, is that a swear word? I'm sorry, I apologize. Liam, he's ready to go as soon as you say anything which he doesn't agree with or doesn't like. And I like that. And I'm going to use that against him on the night.
This is the thing. I mean, You did your best to get under his skin. Did you think you are getting under his skin a little bit?
I wouldn't say I did my best. I mean,
there's more to come, I'm sure.
I just talked. I just said the things which I thought were true. If that got under his skin, then so be it. But I'm just being real.
You don't remember sparring him. You don't really remember how that came about or anything like that.
No, I remember sparring him. I just don't remember how it went. I don't remember if I beat him up, or if he got hurt, or if it was even, or nothing memorable in that spar happened because I don't remember it. There's other guys that I do remember spars from, so the fact that I don't remember anything from him means that he was just another body. He was just another piece of meat that I was in there to tenderize for a couple of days and saute and then leave. That's what happened.
We are all in agreement that this could be an absolute cracker. It's going to catch fire at some stage, but which stage do you think that will be?
I think from round one. I think this is the type of fight that from round one there's going to be hard shots going in. There's going to be exchanges, combinations, and I think that at some point early on, I'm going to drop him. That's how I see the fight going.
How important to you is this fight in terms of your career? I mean, we've all said it could be career-ending. Should the loser lose? How are you seeing that? How important is it to you?
Every fight at this stage in my career is do or die. I can't lose. I can't underperform.
You've spoken about your world title aspirations. That's what
absolutely.
You want. You can't afford to lose.
That's what I want. And I have to do everything I can each and every time I step into the ring to ensure that I have. To ensure that I get myself in a position to be in those positions to fight for those belts, and a flat performance or a loss would ruin everything. I can't afford that.
What are you going to be working on then between now and the fight? How do you beat Liam?
How do I beat Liam? I just have to go in there and do what I do every day in the gym. I don't have to do anything particularly different or exciting. I don't have to have an amazing game plan. The fight is just going to play out. It's just going to play out in my favor. He only fights one way. That's the thing about Liam Smith. He doesn't have any tricks. He doesn't have any surprises. He's a very ABC type of fighter. That's why I say it's going to be an easier fight than what Conor was, because Conor he's erratic. You don't know what's going to happen. He's undefeated. This guy is, he's good. He's good in the aspects that he's good at, but he's not great in any aspects. And you have to be great to be a fighter like me.
I'm playing devil's advocate here, because from what you just said there, that you don't really need to have any specific game plan and such like. Is there a danger that you could be sort of overlooking Liam there, or even have sort of an element of overconfidence?
It's always a good thing to be confident in a fight. I'm not overlooking him. I am getting Roy Jones in my camp for this fight, just because I want Roy around. I love his company. Not because I need him to beat Liam Smith. I just want him there. But I'm not overlooking him. He's a proven fighter. I just know what I am compared to him.
And we know you love playing the villain. We know you love going into a hostile crowd. Is that what you're expecting in Manchester? Because essentially it is Liam Smith's backyard, isn't it?
I keep hearing this narrative that I love to play the villain.
Because you've said it before. You've definitely said it before.
I may have said that I am. People perceive me as that, okay, or that people like to paint me in that way. One, I don't play. None of this is an act. Everything I say and everything I do is real. And I wouldn't say that I like being the villain. I'm just me. If you don't like me because I'm being me, then fair enough. But I'm not trying to be something I'm not. Like I said at the beginning of the press conference, I don't cheat. I don't lie. I don't cut corners. So if you're actually looking at it from that perspective, how much of a villain can I really be?
I think it's what is said, isn't it? That there's the perceived villain that might be there. So come January the 21st on Fight Night, what's going to happen? What can we expect?
This is going to be the funnest fight I've had for quite a few years, just because of how he fights, the style that he has. I love inside fighting. I love all that. And you can't do that with a lot of fighters. With him, I'm going to be able to do that as much as I want to do it. And I do love that. I love the chess. I love being inside and looking for those openings and dodging and weaving. So I'm going to be able to play that game with him.
How much pride is at stake for you as well?
Pride? I mean, I try not to be a prideful guy when it comes to these fights. I try and be objective. I try and be emotionless. But I have to win. I have to assert my dominance. I have to make sure he understands from the first bell that I am the better man than him. And that I will do.
Easier said than done, isn't it, Johnny, being emotionless when it comes to a fight of this magnitude?
I know Chris says he's not bothered about, he's not mentioning he's the villain, but I actually think he's in a position where he actually doesn't care what people think of him, because I suppose he doesn't need validation that way. But this is going to be, I think this fight is the perfect time for both fighters.
Yeah.
I think both fighters know exactly what's at stake, and they will give each other respect behind closed doors, but play the role perfectly in front of the cameras.
Agree?
There's no role. Again, I don't play. I don't act. I don't pretend. I respect the man, and I'll tell that to his face. I respect any man who's going to get in the ring, especially with a fighter like me. But there is no games here. If I say I'm going to do something, I do it.
Okay, before we let you go, because I know you've got many people to go and speak to and want to speak to you, give us a quick prediction then.
You guys always ask for the predictions, man. It's incredible. Don't you get bored of asking that question?
No, I don't.
Fried chicken all round. That's what you want to be saying.
That's what we all want to know, what's going to happen. So it's a bit of an obvious thing to ask, isn't it?
The prediction is I go out there and we have a fan-friendly fight. this is going to be a fight of the year candidate. I think this is going to be the type of fight which is going to be able to be replayed and watched back for many years.
A fight for the ages.
Yes, that's my prediction.
All right, well, we're looking forward to seeing it January the 21st. Best of luck, Chris. Enjoy eating your chicken over Christmas. We'll let you go.
I will. Okay.
Never gives much away, does he?
Again, it's
Do you buy it? Are you believing it?
I believe he believes it.
Yeah.
I believe that I do not believe for 1 second that he's 50%. And Liam's touched on it, bang on right.
Nor do you believe that he's really going to go into that with no game plan?
No, Roy won't let that happen. Roy will not let that happen. Roy's a professional. He won't let that happen. And you have fighters that sometimes when they go in, it's like the tail wagging the dog. No. Right now he's going to go in there, stick to a game plan, use what his best attributes to get the fight. He's got to talk like this because, this is boxing foreplay. You've got to start getting on your opponent's skin well and truly before you actually get in the ring.
Matt, if anything's to go by from today, from what we've seen, what we've just spoken to, if you had to put your money on one now, who would you go for?
I think, I do think it's a 50-50 fight, really. I think both guys have got miles on the clock. They're not shot at all. I think they're in their prime, but
it's just the right time.
It's the right time. I think I don't think they've got a lot left in their prime. And I think this fight will be that bruising, that grueling, that it'll take so much out of the loser that they'll probably be at the end of the road, certainly at world level. And I don't think either guy wants to compete at anything other than world level. He turns up. He's a consummate professional. Say what you want. He works hard. He's super fit. He's super disciplined and dedicated. He's 100% every single time he gets in that ring. So he's definitely going to be 100% for Liam Smith because he knows he has to be if he's to win.
Johnny, who would your money be on?
It's a 50-50. I can see why both fighters would win. I think if you said this a few years ago, I'd lean towards Liam. But right now, I just think it's about tactics. And this is one of those fights that I cannot put my house on because it's way too tight.
And it's going to swing, isn't it? Over the coming weeks, our opinion is going to sway what we're going to see on social media of each of them training. It's going to pull us in all different directions.
I don't think mine will sway. I think this is going to be a bruiser. I think it's going to go. I see it go 12 hard rounds. If it's a stoppage, I think it'll be very late on. Just maybe the corner throws the towel in.
But who?
I don't know. I'm saying either way. I think it's going to be. I think it's going to be a bruiser.
And I think that's how true that is because he's good friends with the Smith family, and it's very easy to say, my boy. But that's exactly what this fight is. And there's nobody knows how this fight's going to turn out because the timing is perfect for these two to fight.
So essentially, it's anyone's game. It could be anyone.
Literally, so Eubank is the best middleweight in the country by quite a stretch, and Liam Smith is the best super welterweight in the country by quite a stretch. So you got number one in the middleweight and the super welterweight, but Liam's a big super welterweight, and I don't think Chris is that big of a middleweight. I'd say he's going to he walks around it that way. He's got that kind of metabolism. He's a lean guy. I don't think he puts much on.
He wants to with eating all that chicken, doesn't he? One thing's for sure, you don't want to miss it. We are all set for an absolute barnstormer. January the 21st on Sky Sports Box Office. Plenty more to come in the build-up, but we'll see you soon.